Okay, Linux Chapter 2 Part 3, and this last part is specifically on file permissions. So users can set permissions for files and directories so they can establish security. So a systems administrator is typically that person that does that, and then permissions manage who can read, write, and execute files. So it's designated by an R, W, or an X. Original file owner of a file is the account that created it. Okay, so if you create, and I demonstrated that in the last video, if you create a file, your owner, the owner will be, as you list it using a dir command, the owner will be you. Okay, and then you can also transfer that ownership. Let's see on the next one. This is when you look at let's see, I didn't have it. Zoo1. Let's just use Zoo1. Okay, as you look at this, you see whether it's a directory or not, designated here, and then the first three are actually the owners: read, write, and execute. The second three is the group: read, write, execute, and the third area is the others: read, write, and execute. Okay, so going back to here, we see the file type, and then we can see the first set of three: read, write, and execute. These are the owner permissions, and when you're looking at that, that relates to that second, third, and fourth letter. Group permissions: read, write, and execute, and if there's a dash, that means there's no write permission for the group. So they can read the file. If it's a program, they can run it, but they can't save it. They can't load it and save it. And so that's designated by R-X, and then the others permission is R-X as well in this case. So R-X, and that's what that looks like. Now in this case, the file is owned by the root, and they are in the group of root. And the file name is X11. Remember that root is the administrator. Now looking at this page, configuring file securities, you can change the file securities in a couple of different ways. But you use the change mode, chmod program to actually change that. So how this works is that the end, of course, is the file. That last piece of the command is the file name. Change mode is a command, but you can change it using numbers, the octal permissions, or the permission in this way: user, group, others. Okay, user, which is you, group, and others. So in this case, and this may not apply specifically to this example, users are going to get read, write, execute permissions. Group will get read, write, execute permission, and other will get read, write, execute permission on my file. Okay, now in this example, group and other, we're going to remove write and execute permission from account info. So to go here, I'm just going to grab Zoo1. So change mode. Now this should be user is a read, write permission only. User plus, we're going to change it so that everyone can do everything with it. User, group, other, plus read, write, execute Zoo1. And when you look at this, you can see that this has been changed. Another example will be, now user, we need to subtract execute permission. Okay, now notice how execute permission has been removed. Okay, where were we at initially with this one? So let's remove, if we look at this, we can see that execute and write and execute, I should say, are removed from both users and others. So there's a number of different ways, or owners, I'm sorry, owners and others. Number of different ways, but I'm going to remove write, and execute permission. Let's see, and I'm going to step by step to see if we're pulling those permissions the right way. Did I say O? O is others. That's the last three. Now let's get the users, the group. So that was G. Okay, so that removed the owner, or user, I should say. User and owner is the same thing. We see owner permission here, but it's actually the user. You see it as a U, and then group and other. Okay, now we can also change this using an octal format. So the octal values are 4, 2, and 1 associated with each particular set. So user 4, 2, and 1. So if I just put the value, so in an octal format, 4 plus 2 plus 1 equals 7. So we want to allow all of these to be applied. So 4 plus 2 plus 1 equals 7. In the second one, the group permissions, what we're doing is pulling the write permission. So because this is positive, a plus, and this is a plus, we have 4 plus 0 plus 1 equals 5. So that should be 5. In the others permissions, 4 plus 0 plus 1 should equal, let me fix that, 5. Okay, and that should be 5. So if we use that same syntax, now let's look at zoo again. The dir zoo, we see what zoo is. So 7 should make this read, write, and execute. 5 should be read and execute. 5 in the others should be read and execute. So we'll try to change mode. 755 zoo1. Look at the directory, and that has done exactly what we wanted it to. Read, write, and execute is 7, relates to 7. 5 is read and execute. Okay, and then 5 again is there. So now, originally though, if we look at this again, we should have, based upon this, we should have, my apologies for bouncing a little, so we should have only read and write. So read and write should be 6. Okay, so I should go change mode, 6. Now, the next set was read only. I'm not getting that there, read only. So read only in this next set is 4 plus 0 plus 0. So it should be 4. And then the last set, same thing. 4 plus 0 plus 0. And we'll put that back on zoo 1. And we've changed the permission back to what it was originally. This and this. Okay, so I think that actually explains it pretty well. You can remove permissions, you can change permissions, and oftentimes it's easier in this octal format. So what we have there at the end is kind of setting permissions. We have commands, cd, change mode, pluses, a plus assigns, minus removes, information about the cp command, information about the ls command, and once again sort of a command summary. So that will complete chapter 2 part 3 Linux.